welcome to Sestra-Tainment. I'm Lenora.
And I'm Dee.
And we're coming to you today in regards to everything entertainment.
Yeah.
Yes. So today I'm going to go first.
Yes.
And I am going to start with a hot topic. And it's going to be Pastor Keion Henderson. I don't know how many of you all know who Pastor Keion Henderson
I didn't know
is.
who he was when I first saw him.
I 100% agree. I did not know who he was. I had not heard of him or his church or anything. And then I realized who his wife was. So Shawnee, who is Shaq's ex-wife, is his current wife. Mm-hmm. And the thing that I realized was like, oh, okay, well, I do remember when she was dating him that people were like, oh, Shawnee's dating a pastor? Like, is she going to be a first lady? Like, is that like what she's planning to do? And I guess the answer is yes, because they did get married and they have a wonderful life from what everything was that I was seeing before this moment.
Yeah.
And so they were showing them like all lovey-dovey and like, going on these trips and just doing all these wonderful things together. And it's like, okay, all right, love it. So he is the senior pastor of Lighthouse Church in Houston, and she is the first lady of the church. And so what happened this particular, I guess it was within the last week, because it's been just hot news this whole week, is that there was a person in the church who was worshiping, let's say, right? And they were very emotional, and he stopped their worship. And so here is audio, and I'm watching the video, but audio, all you got to do is Google it. Yeah. But this gives you a glimpse of what took place. Here we go.
Stop it. Hush, hush. Silence in the name of Jesus. I lift my hands and the only voice I want heard is his.
All right, so that is basically what took place, right? So,
but wait, he said the only voice I want is his, and
he
the one
keeps singing. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Cool. So, cool. Just making sure.
Yes. So his through me is what I guess I meant to say. Is I want his voice through me to be the only voice that's going on right now. So it reminded me a lot of Kim Burrell's situation where there was a lady who was trying to sing along with her, and she was like, shush, like, no.
The lady in the mask. Lady in the mask.
Yeah, Lady in the Mask. No, we're not having that today. I am singing this song, basically. So anyway, so what happened was, just in case you couldn't really put it together, you're not looking at the visuals, so there was a female who was in the choir, right? And she's in the choir, and you could just hear her wailing, hollering, sobbing. I guess because either she's going through something or the Lord has brought her through something or whatever the case may be, she was feeling that moment, and
Holy Spirit.
She was feeling the Holy Spirit, and with her feeling the Holy Spirit, she was vocal. In the process of doing that, it was while the Pastor Keion, was trying to sing total praise, like just quietly, gently singing total praise, right? So therefore, I think it looks as though he just had enough as he was trying to sing, and she was just screaming over it, like he maybe was trying to bring down the crowd, and everybody might have been hyped earlier. Okay, now we're just gonna quietly worship, and I'm gonna sing, and y'all are just worship in your seat, kind of scenario. Well, she keeps screaming and, hollering and feeling the Spirit to the point that he clicks his fingers at her, and then proceeds to say, hush. No, first he says, shh.
Yeah.
And then it went to, basically be quiet.
Yeah, he said, hey, stop her.
Yep, stop her.
He's walking towards her from where he was
Mm-hmm.
on the stage, walking towards her. Hey, stop her.
And telling them, stop her.
How you gonna stop somebody from praising?
I got an interesting I got an interesting feel about this, and I'm gonna share something here.
Right.
But so what happens is then, so he goes ahead and he explains, look, I just want, as you heard, the Lord, like I just want to hear him in this moment, and we need silence in the name of the Lord, which somebody else said first, and then he followed what that person said. I don't know if everybody paid attention to it, but a man standing there was like, silence in the name of the Lord, and he was like, yeah, silence in the name of the Lord. Mm-hmm. And so then he said, I just want his voice to be heard, and then he proceeds to sing. So that is the scenario, cut and dry. Now move towards him actually, I guess, being called out through social media over and over and over again. There's plenty of TikToks, everything about that, and whether or not that was the right way for a pastor to
I don't even know if it's a pastor, if it's just anybody in general in the church telling somebody, hey, stop
just
praising
quiet.
God.
Right, stop praising God in this moment because
I need to sing this song.
we need some things to kind of happen here, and you are disrupting the flow, right? Yeah. Okay, so fast forward to later this week, he is on the Tamron Hall show. He gives his explanation of what all had happened. So, hold on one second. Let me see if she's playing this. Hold on one second.
Let me play this moment. Let's play it.
So that's her just playing it again for her audience.
The backstory was there was a woman and you could hear her making audible sounds. You turn around, you say, that hush.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, don't ma'am me. I always tell people a snippet of video is not the total story. So tell me what happened there.
Well, social media is into cuts, not context.
Yeah.
And every suggestion that I got from every naysayer, I've already done. This is a 4-year battle, right?
Oh, this is ongoing.
This is ongoing. So I've already talked to her personally. I'd already had ushers go up to her. I've already had prayer warriors. I've had everything. So she did it publicly after being asked not to.
What is she? Is she crying? Is it emotional?
Well, as a pastor, I know the difference between disturbance and worship. And what people have to understand is that every time you hear a noise in church, it isn't worship. And so there has to be order. For instance, it's okay to applaud in this room right now. But if somebody got up and just started clapping right now, I'm sure somebody would bring order to the room.
Yeah.
And so what I did is I brought order to the room so people could hear God and not her. And I'll do it again.
All right. He said he'd do it again.
Yeah,
he'd do it again. So, so that is his take on it, is that, look, this was about disturbance. It was not about worship. She's been doing it for 4 years. 4 whole years. And I've had enough. So she wanted to do it publicly. And I think he was getting ready to say, so I was about to do it publicly.
Exactly,
because he didn't get to that point because Tamron cut him off. But I am pretty sure that that's where he was going. It's like, look, I don't talk to her behind the scenes. We don't go down this road. So, Lenora's hot take. Y'all ready? Here it is.
Go. Well, here it go.
Here it go. All right. I have an unpopular opinion.
Okay.
I am going to read what I put on Facebook. And I have not had one person disagree with me yet, but that don't mean everybody agree with me. It just may be that they just haven't said anything.
Yeah, exactly.
This is my take, okay? First of all, I must be under a rock because I didn't know who this pastor was. That's what I started with. I didn't know about him or his church till this week. But my opinion is that maybe both things can be true. So I say, I feel he was definitely wrong addressing it in front of the entire congregation, especially if he felt that she did this every week. But she could also be an attention seeker who does this every week just to be noticed, or even worse, to draw everybody's attention away from the word towards her because the devil is busy. And I put the spirit of distraction, right? So to clarify, 100% wrong how he addressed it and the way in which he went about it, because he turned it around to being about him and not about God, because he was like, I only want God to be heard, but then I'm still singing. But also, I don't know if her wailing was real because she literally stopped on cue.
When she stopped, she go, yeah.
But she still wait. This is my thing right here. I'm going to stop what I said and then I'm going to keep on going. Okay. My thing is this. You are overcome by the Spirit of the Lord. How is it that man's tongue is going to stop you from that? If it was real, if it was real, if it was real, you wouldn't even see him. You wouldn't even be noticing him. You wouldn't even be paying attention to what he is doing because this is about you and inwardly with you. Yeah. So you would be doing all this. You might be looking at him right in his face. You ain't going to hear him. You ain't going to know what he's talking about because you are in the moment. You are in the spirit. For him to say something and for her to even react to it tells me it won't real. Okay. That's my opinion. Okay. Because if it was real, it's like if somebody's talking in tongues and they're going in this direction and you're trying to stop them or whatever, or somebody falls out or somebody would, well, falling out, sometimes people fake that too. But if certain things are happening, I think that it doesn't matter what else is going on around that person. If they are truly in that moment, they're in that moment. And you could say that and you could click, click, click all you want and do whatever. And she should still be like screaming at the top of her lungs. Because guess what? This is between me and the Lord. It ain't got nothing to do with you. That's just my opinion. Yes, you may continue.
Oh, no, I was just saying that if she was just, I don't know if she was crying. It just sounded like she was just crying.
She was screaming.
I mean, yeah, but it sounded like she was like wailing.
She was wailing. She was wailing. But my thing too is this part right here. Plus, the choir didn't flinch. Now, if
somebody grab her?
Huh?
Did somebody grab her? He said, get her.
Ain't nobody do it.
Oh, okay.
They were like, I ain't touching that woman. But anyway, no, ain't nobody touched. She was standing there with her hands still up and she was just screaming. But the thing is, this is what I said. No one looked at her like, what's wrong with my friend? Oh my God. Like if this was really something that didn't always happen. Nobody looked at her like, wait, what's going on with my friend? What's happening? Like, let me go and comfort this person, even if I don't really know her, because obviously she's going through something. Let me be there beside her. Let me comfort her. Let me catch her. If all that screaming, she could be getting ready to fall out. Like, let me go be next to her. Instead, it was nothing. Ain't want no side looks. If you look at that video closely, because the first time I looked at it, I paid attention to what was going on. The second, third, fourth, fifth, seventh time I looked at it, I looked at everybody in the background. Okay. Everybody in the background. And they didn't flinch. Nobody did anything. Nobody addressed her. People didn't even flinch when he clicked his finger stuff. Because, church folk, they'd be like, wait, hold up. You can't stop somebody praise.
But not mega churches. See, that's the difference. When it's a mega church, everything has to fall in order or else you will be kicked out of this church.
But the point is that if I am a member of the choir and you are doing that to my choir member.
That's not how it works in mega churches. Though.
I've been in a mega church. What are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about the megas.
Yeah, I'm talking about, like when it's like a big church like that, everything has to go in order. Oh, you don't want to do what we say? All right, well, you go ahead.
But the point is that it's a visceral reaction. It's an immediate reaction. If you see something that happens, if the pastor curses in the pulpit, you're going to have a reaction whether you want to or not. Like, it's just, what did he just say? Yeah. That's going to be your reaction, right? If he clicked at her and stopped her worship when you are a worshiper, you're going to be like, wait a minute, did he just stop her from worshiping?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like, where did they do that at?
Yeah,
they don't do that.
I need to know all the backstory.
So therefore, I'm like, nobody, when you look at all the people in the choir, when he stopped her, they looked at her. Then they kind of just looked, but they weren't shocked. Yeah. They were not shocked. Yeah,
because she's been doing it for 4 years, so they are used to it.
They are used to it. I don't know, I don't know if they were used to him addressing it. I don't know if they were just used to it. But my point is that, and then once he did it and said quiet in the name, or, silence in the name of the Lord, all of a sudden, what do you see? People nodding, because they like, we tired of this woman. Mm-hmm. So my point is, and I'm sorry to take up so much time, but it leads to me to believe that this might be the norm for her. Okay. And because of that, or, let me go back. It's either the norm or it's a church full of uncompassionate people. Yeah. One or the other. But the point is that if she had screamed like that near me in the choir, I would have been startled. I would have jumped. I would have been like, oh my God, is she okay? Is everything all right? I would have been looking around. I would have been like, who's going to help her? I would have been doing, none of that going on in the choir. So I say long and short, maybe both things are true. Yeah. Maybe he was wrong and maybe she was wrong. And she had the spirit of the devil not the Spirit of the Lord in her, trying to bring attention to her and away from the word.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, but like, so this is my thing.
take.
If he's been telling her this for 4 years, why isn't he telling her, okay, so when you start wailing, then we're just going to go ahead and get you to go ahead and go to the back?
No, how you going to lose somebody? Okay, this is my.
But
I mean,
how you gonna
it.
lose somebody? And it's like, how you gonna shush somebody?
No,
so
I get it. But my whole thing is, why is she there? If I've been having these, I wouldn't need to have conversations with you for 4 years. What I would have done is said, I'm sorry, you're excommunicated from this church. You need to find another church home. Bless you, Jesus wept.
Okay.
That's what I would do. Because, I mean, think about it. You are disrupting. This is not about worship. If it's every
But he didn't say it
Sunday-
was every Sunday. He just said it's been going on
Well, if
for
it's
4
been
years,
going on for 4 years, my thing is that, I don't know. I just feel like it can't be real if you can stop it on a dime. That's just my opinion. Okay. I don't think it can be real.
I feel like it's like when you're crying and your mother says, hush it up. Hush it up.
Yeah, that's your mom. But I'm saying that it's different when you are saying that the Lord has taken over your body.
Well, I'm not saying that the Lord was taking over, but I was saying that she was just wailing and crying.
But it's like you are having a communication with God in that moment. You are either appreciating what God has done for you, you are whatever.
Yeah, or you're hurting and you're wanting God to
No man should
work
be able to
stop
stop you from worshiping your Lord if it's true, right? Okay. It's like, yeah, Pastor, who are you to tell me to stop worshiping? If that could have been a comment she would have made, I would have felt good about that. Like, who are you to tell me to stop worshiping? This is my worship, and I'm gonna keep wailing. And then
when we also don't know if they've had that conversation before.
She could have in not that particular in that moment, had that conversation.
He spoke to her multiple times. She could just be like, "Well, I'm just going through something, and the God's been so good to me."
I get it. I get it.
Yeah, that's what I said. I can see the double way.
My whole thing too is this, and that's why I said maybe both are true, right? But I also feel like as a worshiper, I wouldn't even keep going to that church if she's going to keep doing that. I can't be there because it is distracting me from the word. I can't enjoy the service. I can't get anything from the service if there's this distracting, loud wailing that's going on. And that's just maybe something I got to work through.
Yeah. Because,
I don't know.
Yeah, because
there are churches that are like that, like Pentecostal churches.
Yeah,
they'll run around
churches,
and they'll jump up and down and they'll go like run in circles around and all of that. I'm not going to be there. That's that does not do it for me in regards to my relationship.
Yeah, I get that.
But if it does it for some people, that's great. I'm not saying that it's wrong.
But that's not for you.
I'm just saying that everybody needs to. That's why you have Methodists. That's why you have Baptists. That's why you have Pentecostal. That's why you have you have different versions because it's like, okay, there's different parts to Christianity or whatever, So, but anyway, I don't know. I might not, have anybody understand that or where I'm coming from.
No, I do get what you're coming from.
Yeah. So,
but I will say the only reason I say it is because I've been in a moment where I've been in church. And I've just been sobbing, crying.
Right.
And the preacher is preaching. Yeah. And I am still sobbing while the preacher is preaching.
And that, I don't think, is a problem, concern, or issue. Yeah. If that preacher had told you, D, stop that preaching. Stop that crying right now.
Yeah.
How would you have reacted?
I would have reacted very badly. And
that is my point.
Church. Yeah.
That is my point.
But
you can't stop my praise. So therefore,
I'm saying I would have reacted badly. I would not. I would no longer be a member of that church. They would have taken me off the roll.
But that's my point.
Signed my name on the roll. It would have been scratched off.
You're explaining my point clearly because she did not react other than to do exactly
because she
what
had been
said,
talked to before. Yeah,
to do exactly what he said. So therefore, I'm like, she ain't go off. If she went off, I would have respected it more. You know what I mean? If she just kept going, I would have respected it more. Okay. But for her to just stop on the dime, that was the part for me. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. If you are that in the moment and that emotional, you may not have, when you were crying in the church, not even known that they had said something to you. You might have been so in your own moment that you might not even they could have said something. You might not have even picked up on it. I don't know. And I think, yes, it is going to happen. And it happens to people. I'm just saying that for 4 years, I don't know if it does consistently happen to people. No. And it should be like you... I don't know. Maybe it's me. I don't know. I don't want to keep going into it because I'm just, a heartless person. So,
Oh my God, you're not heartless.
I'm a heartless person who's talked 20 minutes about it. But the point,
I'm an empath, so
yes,
therefore
I am
I'm
not
feeling what she was feeling.
I am not an empath, and that is a very good point.
Because the thing is that when he said hush, stop it.
That made me mad.
Yeah, but then it was like, but she didn't just stop. She stopped wailing, but she was trying to hold it in. That's why I said it's like when your mother tells you stop crying.
Yeah.
Then you try to hold it in, your lips quivering, you're still happening, but it's now you just gotten quieter. So, but that's
right, because being an empath, I'm not an empath, and so therefore I was just like, okay, and so, but I do agree that it could be that it was. I'll put it this way: both people are wrong.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, okay.
I'm not saying all this about her to say that he was right. He was 100% wrong. If you're not going to address it with her off the stage, you can't address it with her on the stage.
Yeah.
Like, that is inappropriate on all fronts, in my opinion. Clicking your finger at people the whole 9 yards. Now, somebody did say that they were like, that was to get the spirit off of her or whatever. But I was like, but why do you want to do that either?
No,
so I was like, all of that stuff is wrong. Now,
that's what they used to use church fans for. Fan her.
That's what I'm saying. People typically fan. They bring like a sheet.
But then you know what happened after
out.
that? Then they started saying, well, don't fan away the Holy Spirit.
Right. So what I need to do, and I just saw that online they have the full service. So I said, what I need to do is watch the full service, because if she's not whimpering anymore, if she's like whatever, and then I'm like, all right, well, then I don't know if I really believe that. And then the other side to it is that you're right. What happened right before it? What happened right after it? Like, how did everything flow? But there were people in the comments on one of the TikToks that I watched, and somebody was like, y'all, it is almost every week. And they were saying for years, somebody in the comments had said for years, it is almost every week that happens. So I was in the audience that day, and I was so glad that he said something. Oh, wow. Because they didn't know that he had talked to her already. So for the people in the congregation, they were like, finally. But anyway, so that's enough. 22 minutes. Sorry.
Well, no, I mean, it was a good conversation.
It was. I mean, it's not a popular opinion. It's an unpopular opinion. Yeah. Although when I said it, I didn't have anybody, to really,
negate anything that you said.
Yeah, because one person, the only thing they said is, "What y'all talking about?" That was one response. They were like, "Ooh," and what are y'all talking about?
Exactly.
But that was it. So anyway, all right. What do you got, sis?
All right. So what I have is the movie that is on Prime called "The Idea of You."
Oh, okay. Never heard of it.
Okay, so "The Idea of You" is a movie about a older woman falling in love with the lead singer of a boy band.
Okay.
Yes. It's cute how it all works out, you know what I'm saying? The cast...
Yeah, I was going to say, who's in that?
So the cast is Anne Hathaway.
I did see the commercial for that, the trailer.
Anne Hathaway plays Celine. Yeah, Celine, I think is her name. Then you have Nicholas Galitz. That guy. Nicholas. He plays Hayes, who is the main character, the lover boy. You have Ella Rubin, who plays Izzy, who is the daughter of Anne Hathaway. Okay. Anne Hathaway's ex-husband is Reed Scott, who plays Daniel. You have Amy Mumolo, who plays Tracy, who is the best friend. And then you have Perry Matfeld, who plays Ava, who is the new girlfriend of the father. There are some other guys in the boy band. I'm not going to go through everybody who's on the cast, but I feel like it is a cute movie. So it ends up being a meet cute, how it ends up happening. Just to open it up, the first few minutes is the father has the daughter and her friends, and they're supposed to be going to Coachella to go see somebody. Okay. Right? And he was like, oh my God, he bought tickets for a meet and greet for this boy band called something Moon. Autumn Moon, I think is the name of it. Autumn Moon is the name of the group. So, the father pulls up to the house and he's like, hey, I thank you so much for, taking the kids because I have to go to work. She's like, yeah, I understand that. She was like, but you're missing out on time with your child. Like, he's like, yeah, I get it, but I have to go to work. She was like, yeah, but you do this so often. She was like, you always like drop the ball and be like, yeah, we're going to do this. And then you throw money at her and then you like go ahead and leave because you said you have to work. And she was like, you're not spending time with them. And she was just like, you know what, forget it. I'll just go in your place. So she knows nothing about Coachella. She's just kind of like, I'll go. She's like, oh yeah, it's a music festival. And then like she gets there and she's looking around. She's like, oh wow, this is a lot going on.
Yeah, it's big.
So, the teenagers are like, all right, well, we're going to go over here. She's like, wait. You know, they go ahead and do their little talk. A little spiel about, you know, where they're going to meet at and all this other stuff and where the meet and greet is, what time. So they were like, okay. So then they leave and she's like, well, let me find out where this meet and greet place is. I'm just going to go hang out in there. Mm-hmm. She has a book. She goes and sits down. There's a lady who's sitting on the couch. She was like, hey, so who is your autumn moon crush? And she was like, excuse me? She was like, I'm sorry. Who is your daughter's autumn moon crush? And she was like, I don't know these children. So I'm about to finish reading my book, and then the lady starts talking about how she's in love with one of the other guys that was in the thing. She was like, look at him, he's so dreamy. And she's like, yeah, awesome. Do you know where the bathroom is? And the lady just points in the general direction and says, yeah, over there. If you go out there, then you'll find the bathroom. She walks out that way, and there's trailers there. So they look like, you know, those big porta johns. Yeah. They have like the sinks and everything.
Oh
in
yeah,
it. Yeah. So it's like something like that. So she is standing around looking, and she sees all these like trailers, but then she sees a lady come out of one trailer, closes the door, wipes her hands, and then like throws away her napkin. So she's like, oh, that must be the bathroom. Like the lady just finished wiping her hands. She goes in, walks inside, looks around, like looking in the mirror and everything, and she goes to open the door to the bathroom, and someone's like, 1 minute, and she's like, okay. So now she's going, finishing her hair. Door opens up. It's the lead singer.
Oh.
Hayes.
Okay. She didn't think it was weird that it was a guy in the bathroom? Like,
no, she just thought it was like a public bathroom.
Public bathroom where it could be men, women,
Yeah, because the door is locked.
Got it. Okay.
The stall locks, but then you have your sink and everything on the outside.
Yep.
So she was just like, oh, okay. And he was just like, hey. She's like, hi. He's like, what's going on? She was like, I just got to use the bathroom. Excuse me. He was like, oh, yeah. And he just moves.
So
and
she
then lets her go to the bathroom. Yeah. He's like, and then he just walks out, and he just like, he stops, and he's like, wait.
Why is she using my bathroom?
And why isn't she freaking out that I'm me?
Right.
So then she comes out, and then she's like washing her hands and everything. And he's just like, so what are you doing here? And she was like, oh, well, you know, my daughter, blah, blah, blah. He was like, no, what are you doing here in my trailer? She said, this is your trailer? He's like, yeah. Kind of like the lead singer. So then they talk back and forth and everything, and he ends up having to change his clothes, well, his shirt or whatever, because of somebody was like, we want you to go ahead and promote this, so you need to put on this watch, and you have to now wear this shirt, blah, blah, blah. And so he's changing his clothes and everything. And while all the people around him, she just walks out. Mm-hmm. But they do have like a little conversation on the inside before them. Okay. And then the meet and greet happens, and the daughter and her friends show up. And she's like right there at the table, and she's like, "All right, come on, get in the line." They get in the line, and her daughter's like, "Oh my God!" Like, she had told him, "Oh yeah, my daughter said that y'all autumn moon is seventh grade." Oh God. So he was like, so she's here somewhere at another stage, and he was like, oh, okay, that's kind of funny. He was like, I get it, boy bands, blah, blah, blah. But when her daughter gets up there, she's like, hi, I just want to let you know that you're awesome, and I love you,
so
blah,
much,
blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And then one of the friends is like, how do someone tell me my name is so? I thought, what's my name? So, and then they're going down the line, getting everybody to sign their stuff, and then Anne Hathaway is still standing there, talking to him. And now she's talking to him and another guy, and the daughter turns around. She's like, what's happening here?
Like how?
And she was like, oh, we bumped into each other earlier. You know, we were talking. He was like, so you're the daughter, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, you don't really like us because we're so seventh grade, right? She was like, oh. But then after that, they, you know, it was cute. But then the guys had to get up and leave. So she's just like, all right, bye. And you see them like looking at each other, so like that. He gets up to sing, and when they get on the stage, she's never been to Coachella, knows nothing about it.
Yeah, right.
She's into art.
Okay.
So therefore, when they get on the stage, she's looking around. It's like, yeah! Everybody's like screaming and hollering. She's like, oh my God, what is happening? And then they sing a song, and then one of the songs is dedicated to the woman that he had met earlier.
Aww.
So that's how the whole thing starts off. This is probably like the first 10 minutes.
Yep, exactly.
And then it just goes from there. He does his celebrity thing and just it kind of gives me a little bit of Notting Hill.
Oh, okay. I remember that.
You know, when like
Hugh Grant.
Yeah, it was Hugh Grant and Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
And she just shows up into like the bookshop. This looks like the exact same thing.
Wow.
The only
But
thing
it's
it's not a bookshop, it's an art gallery.
Oh,
it's an art gallery.
Oh, yeah.
Because like he shows up.
Right. And it's just weird. So did he do that on purpose? To show up there? Okay, that's what I was wondering. Because I saw that in the
And
clip.
she was like, how did you find me? He was like, I just looked you up. She was like, I have disposable use of everything. Ever. So
nice.
Because he's in a boy band and everything, she's like, oh, you're too young for me.
Of course.
He's 25. She's like in her 40s or something like that. So it ends up being that they have this back and forth time, kind of like talking to each other, and then she's like, "You're way too young for me. Like, you gotta go."
Yeah.
But then there's so much pull and push throughout
As
it
they do,
that starts to get on your nerves after a while. But they end up breaking up, getting together, just sleeping together. Now they're living together.
Too much away?
No, this is the way that all this happens. I'm not giving away anything.
Oh, okay.
Because the way that it just keeps happening, and you already know it's going to happen because you can foresee it.
You know that it's happening.
Like you know it's happening before it even happens. Okay. So there is one part where they're out with friends, and then the friends start being like
jerks.
Yeah, big jerks, and she's hanging around with a whole bunch of young kids and talking
that
to them.
feels weird.
Yeah,
because if he's mature, it doesn't mean all his friends are mature.
Exactly. So now it was like the whole back and forth, and then his one of his singer mates or whatever you want to say, his co-singer. What's that? His bandmate, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. He ends up saying some like really foul stuff, and she just gets up and leaves and like walks away, and it's just like you could feel that part because you see I could feel it because I'm an empath, but because she was already talking about some stuff that had happened before, so now it's like the real friends versus the fake friends, and like who's really his friends, who's really her friends, who's the fake friends for him and her and stuff like that. So it keeps going on, but a couple of things that I didn't like that wasn't lining up.
Okay.
I can't go into them because
they feel to give too much away.
I'll give it too much away. But it's like it's a cute movie that you've already seen 500 times before.
Okay.
And the little things that didn't line up was like clothing changes and like.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's like, hold on, she didn't have that on a second ago, and it's like, wait, so where do all these people go to all of a sudden?
All the content, like, because that's the stuff that, like a Tyler Perry movie where it's they're eating with the fake fork. I mean, the fork.
So
and
I couldn't understand it. Okay. And then also, we went to the screening for this, so we went to the movie theater before it actually came out on Amazon. So the screening for this, went to it. There was some girls in there that was wailing like the lady in church.
Oh goodness!
No, not really.
What?
They were just talking loud and laughing and stuff. But they were not teenage, but I would say they was in their like early 20s. And like every time like a deep scene came on, then they would start like giggling and then start talking back and forth to each other. So I was like, they just feel uncomfortable and nervous, and they don't know how to take these scenes.
They don't know how to,
So that's what that was. But the idea of you is cute. Like I said, it is a movie that you've already seen multiple times before because you can't really change up a love story about somebody older and younger. It's like how Stella got a groove back, basically. Yeah. So you're always going to get that same thing. But there is some other things that do kind of make it harder for them to try to figure out what they're going to do and how they're going to do it, and if they're going to be together, if they're not going to be together, and the ex-husband and how he starts acting, and then his girlfriend and how she starts acting. So it's a lot.
It's a lot of stuff going on. on. Okay.
And then like the daughter, how she feels, the friends, the people at school,
Everything.
when she's at camp, all this stuff. So I do like it. It's cute. But I mean, while you're watching it, you're gonna know what's happening.
You're gonna know what's happening before it happens. Okay.
Yeah, Idea of You on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
All right, what do you have next, ma'am?
So I decided that I'm going to start now finally watching some of the Academy Award winning, or, maybe not winning, but a nominated movie.
Okay.
So I still have to watch, Children of the Flower Moon or something? What was it?
Yeah.
Whatever it was of the Flower Moon.
I started.
Yeah, I
turned it on. I looked at it and I said, I'm not going to watch it.
That's exactly what I did. When
So
I saw the
I'm not
first
into
scene.
it. Yeah, that's
No.
what
I don't know if I'm not going to be into it. I just was like, I don't have 3 hours. Yeah. And that's why I haven't done Oppenheimer. But guess what?
I haven't done Oppenheimer.
I'm going to be on a flight. So if I can download stuff, then I'm going to start watching it.
Watch some Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I'm going to watch all of this stuff. So pretty soon I'm going to do that.
Poor Things.
That's what I'm going to talk about.
I started watching that and I said, I can't watch this anymore because this is...
It's the weirdest thing I have seen in a really long time.
How are weird movies?
Approved,
green light,
lit,
well, not like that, but it's like, how is it like, oh my God, this was the best movie ever?
Because it's different.
There was a goat with a chicken's head on it. Come on.
Okay, let's give a little backstory.
Yeah.
So, Poor Things. I watched it on Hulu. And so, but basically, it's a weird movie. And it is, let's go through the cast first. So the only people you need to care about is Emma Stone as Bella Baxter, Mark Ruffalo as Duncan Weatherbaum, and Willem Dafoe as Godwin Baxter.
Yeah.
And I'll give this name too, only because of the fact that he was a love interest. Oops, if I can find him, maybe I can't.
Ramsey.
Oh shoot, hold on, I'm getting there.
Rami.
Here we go. Rami Youssef. Yeah,
Rami.
So he was a love interest, Max McCandles.
Yeah.
So it is the story. It kind of starts off with the Emma Stone character, who is basically like jumping off of a ledge, for the lack of a better way of saying it. So she jumps off a ledge and you see this thing happen, and then that's in color, but then immediately it goes to black and white, and you're like, okay, what's this about? So it does show those things. It shows goats with dogs' bodies, or chickens with, what did you say?
It was a goat with a swan head or something like that, and then it was a chicken with a pug head.
Yeah, it's like all different kinds of
Frankenstein
animals, and part of the movie was like almost like through a bubble, like you're looking at it through like a lens. Yeah. So you're seeing some of it like a normal movie you would watch, and then some of it looks like it's somebody peeping through a peephole and seeing what's happening, which is weird. So anyway, so that's the very beginning. Like the very beginning, somebody jumps. Then you see the girl, it's in black and white. You see weird looking creatures. Yeah. You see Willem Dafoe, and his face is like a Frankenstein.
Yeah, it's distorted,
where it's distorted. So then he, literally in the first 2 minutes, he's eating, he's talking to her. I think she can't really formulate words. She's sounding very, like, I don't know how you describe it, but she will say like...
How she says stuff is like... how you would first learn English. It's like, cup, water, me?
Yeah. And even like with that, like she's trying to say bye-bye or whatever. She's like, bye, you know, so it's like she can't formulate words and things, right? Yeah. You'll find out why later. Yeah. So basically, all of a sudden, literally in the first, I don't know.
5 minutes?
No, not even that long. Minute and a half of the movie. He makes this noise that sounds like a burp. And he's like, like whatever. Yeah. And then this big bubble comes out. Yeah. And then it bursts. Yeah. And then they act like nothing happened.
Nothing happened at all.
And it happens repeatedly throughout the movie. Yeah. And they never explain why.
No.
They never explain why. So, well, maybe part of it gets explained later. What you end up finding out is that, of course, if you have all of these Frankenstein animals, then Willem Dafoe, being someone that, like, literally in the next scene, he's in a school teaching students about surgeries and all that, and everybody's saying, oh, he's the best at his craft, he's amazing at what he does. Again, all of this is in black and white. Yeah. And so he ends up, you realize like, oh, he's the guy who does all the Frankenstein kind of stuff, right? So he talks to one student that he feels is a rising pupil and says, hey, come to my home. I want you to help me with the project. The project is Bella. Basically, I want you to track and monitor everything that she does. Study her, write down everything that she does because basically just because. And he doesn't really know what's going on with Bella or why. He thinks she's very beautiful, but he's just like, I don't know why when she tries to walk, it looks like she's like, you know, like almost like you would take a Cabbage Patch Kid and try to move their legs and make them look like they're walking or something, you know? So she didn't have much hand-eye coordination. She couldn't really speak. Yep, she would just, everything was just weird in regards to like very childlike, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you were like, what's going on? Is she autistic maybe? Because, you know, that was a possibility. You don't know. And then it was like, no, is it that she had an accident? If she fell off of that cliff, did something actually happen to her? You know, you just are all over the place of trying to figure out what in the world is going on. And then you realize she has a scar on the back of her head. And you're like, okay, interesting. What is going on? What's the story? You find out the story. And the story, did you watch enough to get the story? I don't know if you knew the story. Anyway, I won't share what the story is, but let's just say that there was a Frankenstein type surgery that took place on her when she basically had died, but rigor mortis hadn't set in.
Yeah.
So when she jumped, she did die, but rigor mortis hadn't set in. So he decided to do something to bring her back. Yeah. Now, the way in which he brought her back has her basically like living life again, so to speak. You know what I mean?
So she's like a child.
She is like childlike because of being childlike, and therefore, as the movie progresses, her speech progresses, her ability to navigate the world progresses, her walk, her talk, like everything progresses along with the length of the movie, right? Okay. So what ends up happening is that it's just so weird. So she can't do anything on her own, right? She has to always be with Willem Dafoe's character, right? So what ends up happening is that his name is Godwin. She calls him God. So therefore, God, I guess in this instance, because that's what she calls him, which is weird because it's like, well, he created her.
Yeah,
so that's why she calls him that. And so, and you try to figure out.
Only that he brought her back to life,
right?
Because her body didn't have rigor mortis. You got cow dogs.
Yeah, you're like, hey, horses. He's doing the whole, he's doing it all. And so what he ends up saying to the student is, look, I've seen the way you look at her. I think she's looking at you the same way. Maybe you two should get married. And, you know, let's try that part of her life story, you know, like how would that be with her being a wife and, you know, whatever. And so the guy at first was like, what? I feel like I'm taking advantage, and don't you want her like for yourself? Like, didn't you create her basically? And so, cause he did find out eventually. And Willem Dafoe's like, no, number one, my father has done XYZ experiments on me. I couldn't be with her even if I wanted to. I'm a eunuch, you know, I couldn't do this. So as you watch the movie, which was very dark, but at the same time, I busted out laughing about 15 times.
Oh, I laughed too. Okay.
Oh my God. I was just like, what in the world? But it was like weird things that were just thrown in there for no apparent reason. And it just made me laugh because I'm like, why in the world was this even needed or necessary? But I guess a little comic relief. And so what ended up happening is he was like, so when my father did this to my genitals, when my father did this to my tongue, when my father did this to my face, when my father did this to my, it's like everything. And the poor, you know, student is like, geez, like, what in the world
what happened to your childhood?
Because his father was also a scientist, but his father experimented on him. He then experimented on the animals, and then from there experimented on her. And so he brought this gentleman, which was Mark Ruffalo's person, his character. Yeah, his character. And he basically, Wedderbum, and he was basically like, look, I need you to draw up a contract between my student and, you know, Bella to say that he's going to be with her, that he's going to, you know, do this, that. They can never move out of my house. We need to watch her and observe her and everything. So he brings that contract, but then he's like, who is this person that this man wants to always be around for the rest of his life? Like, who is this? So he roams the house saying like he had to go to the bathroom or something. He comes across her and he's fascinated by her.
Yeah.
And he's like, you need to go with me. We need to go away and all of this. So long story short of the whole movie, this is what it's all about. Because again, what I explained is probably the first, it's almost a 2.5 hour movie. And what I explained is probably the first 30 minutes, maybe not even 30 minutes of the 2.5 hour movie. But basically he decides I would like to, travel the world and do things, around the world with you and give you experience and exposure because you obviously have been sheltered. So she goes and tells, quote unquote, God, yes, this is what I'm going to do. And you can't stop me. I'll eternally hate you if you try. And he was like, okay, you have free will to do whatever you want to do. So therefore, go ahead and go. So now the husband is like, wait, what? The soon to be husband, so she's not going to marry me? Like, what's happening? So he ends up staying with Godwin, but she leaves. And that's when all the adventures ensue. Okay. So the whole movie is about this person who was
childlike. Is that when it goes into color?
But for the most part, I think so. Yeah. When this childlike person gets the exposure of being out in the real world, like she's eating foods for the first time. She's
she always wanted to go outside, and he's like, "No, you can't go outside."
Yeah, he wouldn't let her. She could go up on the roof. Well, she did go up on the roof. I don't know if she was supposed to.
She wasn't supposed
but she went up on the roof, and she could see certain things from there. But yes, as soon as she left, they left together, and then from there, that's when it went into color, and she's like trying different foods, and she's seeing different people, and she's, just engaging with a whole lot of different things. And right before she left, that's when her peak of, let's say, sexuality starts. And therefore, another part of the whole movie is her having sex 405,000 times. God. Like, it's so much in this movie that I'm just like, is this necessary? Men, women. I mean, I just, it was like over and over and over. And I'm just like, what is that? Like, I thought that I was watching one thing that was already weird enough.
Yeah, so now I'm watching porn.
It's moved into her and Mark Ruffalo, which, you never see Mark Ruffalo in that type of role. But anyway, but it was like her and him constantly. Then it was like, okay, she decides, I'm not really feeling him. I want to go out and see other things. And he's like, because he was a playboy, but then he's like, oh my God, not you. You can't leave me. Oh my God. And then it's like, so she just had everybody wrapped around her finger, but yet she was more adult-like than she was when she left home, but yet it's just a weird dynamic. So that's the whole movie. So the movie is about human nature and self-exploration and just, I guess, sexual exploration and a little bit of everything. So
a lot of explorations.
A lot of explorations and where she lands, where she ends. Like, what goes on after that. And so, watch it or not? I mean, in a way, like I watched it all the way through. I think I fell asleep in part of it, but because I was like 2.5 hours. But yeah, I would say if you are into something that I had spoken about, that's like, that's interesting enough that I would watch, or I'd watch the first few minutes to see a dog or whatever, something like that. So be it, but it definitely was different. And the thing that I also don't understand is why is it that every time that a woman has to like show her body or be very sexual or whatever are the times that she gets an Academy Award. So because she won Best Actress for this movie too. And I was like, her acting, yes, I get it. She did some interesting things with her acting, but at the same time, I'm like, why is it always that like, the more exposed you are, I guess, then the more it's like, oh, this is an Academy Award performance. And it's, that's just my
sex
2
sells,
cents.
that's why.
Yeah, I guess so. Religion and sex, and that's what we've talked about tonight.
Yeah, all right.
That might be the name of the episode.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Your turn, sis. What do you have? Oh, and that, again, Poor Things on Hulu. So, what do you have?
All right. So, for my next thing I have, I got a hot topic to talk about. Shooting at Drake's home in Toronto.
I did.
I'm sorry, in Toronto. You gotta say it.
Toronto.
Toronto. He's like, I don't know, like what's going on.
It's a boot.
what is this all about? And I'm
No, it's a
sorry.
boot. They don't say about. They say
About
a boot.
a boot, and I'm sorry. Yeah. So there was a shooting at Drake's home. The person has not been identified,
I heard
but
it was a security guard.
yeah, but they have not released his name. So it happened at 2 a.m. on Tuesday the 7th. And so it was a guard from his from outside of his gate that got shot. He was taken to the hospital with a gunshot wound. Like I said, they still didn't release his name, but they don't know if it was. They don't know if it was about the whole beef or not. They can't say for sure. I don't think it is.
The rap battles and the rap. What are they calling it? Are they calling it beef? Or are they calling it diss tracks?
The
rap diss tracks.
There you go. But they said that they have the video of the suspects, and they fled in a vehicle. They still remain at large. But like I said, it's all caught on video. But then there was a man the next day that was apprehended for trying to break into Drake's home the next day, or into his property the next day. So this happened at 2 p.m. on Wednesday.
So people are just, all around his stuff.
Yeah, just trying to get close to him. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so, we don't know if it's because of the beef or that happened, the rap diss tracks that's going back and forth, or if it's something else. I think Drake has already had someone be in his house before. I think someone broken into his house before, and he had an interaction with them, and then he had to actually then heighten his security to like 24-hour security to have. So I might just be like, "Yo, this is Drake's house. Let's go. Let's see what's in Drake's house. Let's see if we can see Drake or something like that."
Yeah, maybe.
And it ends up not being a thing. And then another thing is colleges all around the USA are protesting peacefully about the war on Gaza. Now, there's been a lot of arrests with this since they've been protesting this week. I still don't understand how people get arrested for peaceful protesting.
I think that it depends on if you have the permits to protest.
Okay,
so if you don't have the permits to protest and create it could be disorderly conduct.
So here's my thing.
Something to that
here's
effect.
my thing. Who gives you this permits?
Oh, I'm sure you have to go to the city or probably somebody in the city and get something approved.
Okay, so but then if they say no, then you can't protest the part that you.
I am protesting that I did not get approved to protest.
Yeah, because I feel like if you're just going to do a protest,
I don't know. We need to find out from Mikey P. What's the rules around that? Like, how do you peacefully protest without permit? PPP.
Yeah, PPP, not the loan. But they said that more than 2,600 students have been arrested.
Wow.
From different universities around the U.S. for protesting.
That's crazy.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like, bro, these are protests.
Yeah. You talking about practice?
No, you talking about protests? Protests.
We talking about peaceful.
Hold up. Not war, but protests?
Right. Peaceful protest.
Peaceful protests?
Yeah, that's true.
Man, you wildin'. But, yeah, so the thing is, it's like, it's happening everywhere. I saw that DeSantis has said some smart things, and I heard some hearsay that he might be trying to take away diplomas and expel students that were part of the peaceful protests. I don't know if it was like if you got arrested and you were part of the protest. Sorry, because they said that it was arrests and what they said it was arrests, suspensions, and canceled commencements.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, but this is a thing, protest has always been a thing that's, we have a right of that.
Yeah, that's true.
So, it's like, how are you going to be like, yeah, you have a right to do it, but make sure you get the permit.
Yeah, I mean, because if you think about it, there's always been protests, but there's been hoses of water, there's been tear gas, there's been rubber bullets.
But it's never. Really... But I mean, if it's a peaceful protest, I feel like it should just be like, okay, let the people protest peacefully. Nobody was throwing anything at the police. Nobody was trying to harm anybody. They were literally in the quad of different schools.
Yeah.
And they were just like, no, you can't be here. Mm-hmm. There was one interview of a gentleman who, I can't remember what school it was, but he gave his rundown about what happened. Now, he said that we were all sleeping peacefully in our tents where we had been protesting. Mm-hmm. And the police came, and he said they started taking the tents, opening them up, pulling people out, throwing stuff all around. Oh, wow. He said that a chair came within inches of hitting his girlfriend in the face. And he said, like, he had to move her out the way. But he was like, they were beating people and everything. And he was like, they were cowards. They came when we were sleeping.
Yeah. Like, you didn't even,
And then, but then they arrested some people. And then what happens? Now there's a chain link of people who were standing there who are still protesting.
Yeah.
But the only difference is now the police are just moved back. So it's like, okay, so did somebody be like, hey, whoa, you can't be doing all that. Like, we told you to go get them out, but we didn't tell you to start.
Yeah.
You're looking at lawsuits now. These are college students, mommy and daddy's money. Let's not do that.
Yeah, that's true.
So now y'all just stand here and watch, and like they're sitting there linked up. But it's like the thing that's the craziest is like, it's like the Vietnam type thing. Where it's like we're protesting because the U.S. is like helping out when when they shouldn't be helping out.
Right.
Like why are you
even supporting anything with it? Yeah.
Yes.
That's what
So it's like, but they're just like, okay, because of, and I showed you this video that this young lady had done on TikTok when she was talking about all the different things of like how things have changed. She was like, so we're giving all this money to Israel for the Gaza thing. She was like, but then also it is that how does she say it? I can't remember exactly how she said it, but it was basically talking about how like if you have too many people together, it's an assembly, and assembly is against the law. And then it's like if you have this and this, and then this is the problem. So she was saying something to like something about the how the like things are working and how it's just all messed up. Just like you have all these laws, and then when you go ahead and you're abiding by the laws, then it's like, oh no, you did it wrong, because if you look at
this way,
if you look at Section 2 and Article 12, Paragraph 17, it says one word that says this, and then you all didn't do that. Yeah. So it's like that's what she was saying. She was saying because we have TikTok that gives you news from around the world, and we are seeing this, they cannot say what the U.S. can and cannot see.
Right.
So she's like, that's probably why they're trying to ban it.
100%.
It's like, yo, you don't need to be knowing what's going on overseas. You worry about Mardi Gras.
You don't need to care about what else is happening.
Yeah. But
the thing is that, I mean, if it's not TikTok, it'll just move to Instagram or move to some other platform. But I guess they're saying we can have more control over Instagram and shut things down.
Exactly. Yeah.
Where we can't do that with TikTok.
Exactly, because it's not a US. Because it's not a US company.
Yeah. Ugh.
So, but with that being said, it's like there was so many videos of people that were literally in Gaza, and they're like sitting there, like, on FaceTime, wiping the whatchamacallit off, and was like, can you please, like, telling people, like, see what's happening. This is what's happening to us. Exactly. You see them pulling rubble off of people, children. So I saw that there was, I don't know if it was CNN or not, but it was a news broadcasting station that was like, this woman is like, there was a protest that started because this woman was killed, and it was like, no, the woman wasn't killed, it was a 6-year-old child.
But they were trying to change
the narrative. They were trying to change it to where it was a woman, but it was like, no, everybody knows that Huni or whatever her name is their 6-year-old child. And then they even have the whole recording of her call when she's like, please come and help me, everybody around me is dead. She's in a car that's got blown up, and she's the only survivor.
That's terrible.
All of her family is around her is dead. And it's like, come please help me. And there's a man who has a video of how they moved everybody in from in Palestine. They moved everybody down. So it was like, okay, they're bombing up here. Now everybody moved to the south. And they started bombing there. Now everybody moved to the south.
East.
But it's like, to the east. Yeah, but it's like, but then it's like, once you get to the end of the east, what are they doing? They're still bombing these people that have nowhere to go. So it's like I don't know. I don't get it.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot.
Yeah.
But that's just what I had.
Yeah, we have to be grateful for where we are in proximity to what is all going on, because we have the privilege to see it and not live it.
Yeah,
but if you were living it, you would feel differently about all of it.
Exactly.
You would feel differently about all of it.
Exactly. And I feel like with when COVID shut the world down, Black Lives Matter was the main thing because of after George Floyd and his death and everything.
Else,
But the world was protesting
100%.
the entire world.
And this is a situation.
And this is another situation like that. And then it's like, well, we got to shut it down again, because it's like, but it's like you're not taking time to speak to the people. You're just like, y'all need to shut up. I don't want to care. I don't care what you
feel or what you think or what you say.
We don't care what yet your tax dollars are going over there, and you don't like it. Guess what? We don't care. This is what we do.
And it's unfortunate, because regardless of which part of government you are with, we would be doing the same thing.
Yeah, but
it's not a Democrat-Republican thing.
No.
It wouldn't even be an independent thing.
No.
It's like whoever is in office would be doing the exact same thing.
Exactly.
Because that's where the United States has always stood.
Exactly, yeah.
So, yeah. So, all right. Well, there we go.
This was an episode.
This was an episode. So, everyone, thank you so much for listening to us. And this wonderful, I was going to say estimate. This wonderful episode of Sestra-Tainment. Everybody have an amazing week. Bye.